So let's talk about the elephant in the room. There are growing concerns again for King Charles's health and the fact that his terminal cancer diagnosis has been worsened by the intense pressure and stress he is under as a result of the release of the Epstein files that have plunged the British royal family into a new crisis because of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and his behaviour, but also the revelations that have come this week in regards to how much the king put of his own money, £1.5 million being the figure quoted by The Sun, in order to secure that confidential settlement with Virginia Giuffre. It's been slightly disingenuous because Charles is not operating at full capacity. He is unable to. This is a very, very ill man. And if you look at some of the pictures of him this week at the carers event at Buckingham Palace, where he attended alongside Queen Camilla and Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, it's very obvious that this is a man who is really struggling health-wise to perform. And he doesn't want that to be on the agenda, but I think it has to be, because, of course, the decisions that are about to be made over the weeks and the months to come in regards to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, in regards to the public statements that the British royal family in Buckingham Palace will take on this highly controversial issue, are going to be historic. And I think Prince William needs to be given a bigger role, in the same way that King Charles was given an outsized role in the final 5 years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, as she too battled terminal cancer. Now, Lady Colin Campbell has weighed in on the fact that the King's health is so much worse than what people know on her YouTube channel this week. I just want to play you part of it. Watch.
To tell you something that a member of the royal family, a senior member of the royal family, said day before yesterday. First of all, the king is in a much worse health and much worse shape than he appears to be. All of this has had a devastating effect upon his health. The rest of the family are distressed beyond measure by the turn things have taken. They had no inkling whatsoever of what was going to come as a result of the drop of the Epstein files. None.
I back up that reporting from Lady Colin Campbell. These new Epstein file releases have come as a hammer blow. King Charles and Prince William and senior courtiers desperately hoped that the worst was behind them and that the decision to effectively banish Andrew to Sandringham and take away his titles, even though it was William who actually forced Charles to get tough a fortnight after his initial statement, they hoped that that would be enough. And it clearly isn't enough. And what's interesting here is that Lady Colin Campbell is saying she has spoken to a senior member of the royal family just days ago, and that this release has had, quote, a devastating effect on his health. And of course it has. I mean, let's remember that when it came to Catherine's cancer battle, I've reported in the past that Prince William believes that a lot of the stress that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle put their family through impacted her diagnosis, made her recovery more difficult. Anyone who has battled cancer will tell you that the worst possible thing for recovery is a high-stress situation. So, of course, it's not a surprise to see after that brief recovery at the end of last year, Charles is looking very unwell again. Of course, that is a reality. It's a difficult reality. You know, I have reported here on Outspoken that the king is suffering from terminal cancer. I haven't revealed what type of cancer. I want to be respectful, but I also don't sign up to the royal rota philosophy, which is advocated by Buckingham Palace, that we don't speak about this at all. Because, of course, the health of the king is constitutional. It impacts succession. That's as old as Shakespeare, right, that these discussions take place. And again, according to Lady Colin Campbell, much worse health and shape than he appears to be in. Well, I don't think he appears to be in good health at all, to be honest. So the question is now, how does King Charles focus on his health over this very difficult period and allow Prince William, whose radar and antenna is much more focused on these issues? I'm going to be frank here. William has been correct in terms of how Andrew and Fergie should have been treated. William has been correct about how Meghan Markle and Prince Harry should be treated. So I believe the question within the British royal family now needs to be about how there can be this region operating, not where King Charles abdicates. I'm not advocating for that. As you know, I know many are, including Andrew Lownie. I'm not advocating for that. But I do believe that this competition, which is currently ongoing between Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace, needs to end. It's not good for the British monarchy. And Charles needs to accept that William has been right on these issues. Charles needs to take a minor step back. He can still be public facing, but really focus on his health and let William try and see the monarchy through what is going to be a perilous few weeks. Because remember, the Republicans are circling, and the Republicans want to undermine the British royal family. The radical left are circulating. We've seen it in America. We're seeing it increasingly in the United Kingdom too. So there are risks. This is difficult. I'm trying to paint the full picture here. But given the king's health, I think this is where Camilla really needs to step in and say, look, you've got to take a step back. The stress is becoming too much for you. William can take the lead on these matters for the moment. Our royal mastermind, Angela Levin, joins me now. Angela, of course it's difficult. Charles knows that he was probably too public about his health and that the questions of his mortality were almost taken away from his authority. But it's very clear he's not well, Angela. And of course, the stress of this situation is not going to be helping his recovery one bit.
Whenever Buckingham Palace releases information about the king's schedule or health, it immediately becomes headline news around the world. That intense public interest has also created an environment where rumors can spread rapidly online. Some reports rely on official palace statements. Others rely on unnamed sources, opinion pieces, or speculation that cannot be independently verified. Understanding that difference is essential. The most reliable information about the king's health comes from official announcements made by Buckingham Palace. These statements generally describe confirmed medical updates while respecting the monarch's privacy. Anything beyond those official announcements should be treated cautiously unless supported by credible reporting. Royal health has always attracted enormous public attention. As head of state, even routine changes to the king's public schedule can generate widespread discussion. Commentators often analyze appearances, speeches, or cancelled engagements, but these observations alone do not establish someone's medical condition. British newspapers cover the royal family from many different editorial perspectives. Some outlets emphasize dramatic headlines. Others focus on official statements and constitutional implications. For viewers, it's helpful to distinguish between news reporting, analysis, and opinion. A striking headline does not necessarily reflect confirmed facts.
That's right. I mean, any parent who had been treated so badly by their son or their cousin or their brother is very, very important. However, I think they are doing what you want, but only they're doing it very quietly. I mean, Camilla will be looking after him 100%, but she will know what makes him feel good, and some of that is working. He was at an event yesterday that cheers you up, meets people, cheers you up, and is not doing as much. He and William are getting on very well. I asked somebody very close to them, and they said that a lot of people are saying they're not at all getting on, but they are. They're working on very well together. So, they are shifting a bit. The thing is that William wants to stay as a family man, look after his children, but he was told to go abroad by the government. So you can't really say no. He's doing that for his father. They didn't send King Charles out to talk about everything that was going on there. They sent William. So that makes it easier for King Charles. And also that he's a man who wants to do things. And I think that's fair enough. But you're right when you say he's not doing as much, but that's what you say you want him to do. So I think that you've got one there, and it's working.
Yeah, and it's not easy. That's the thing. None of this is easy. This is incredibly difficult. And it would be an incredibly difficult situation for someone to deal with, Angela, at full health. That's the point.
Well, it is. And if you've got a brother who's always disliked you, who you've also tried to, give him money, look after him a bit, and he's actually doing some of this to get his own back. That's one of the things I believe that Andrew's about, and it's very difficult. But it was said that he wants Andrew to be close to him so he can keep him under his eye rather than going off for all over the place, which I thought they should get rid of him, sending thousands of miles away, so they can keep an eye on him. Here he is in a lonely place. People don't see him. He can't wave to them from his horse, and there he will be. And I think that's quite a good idea. He's done that in the right time, not waited. I mean, people can't be perfect and know what's going to come, in a great sort of mountain falling down in front of you. That's what it's been in the last 2 weeks. It's just horrendous. It's terrible, and it turns your stomach. But, you can't have known that absolutely beforehand. You have to wait till it's there, and then you can move on. And I think that he will try. I think he can give a talk about it too. And I think that a whole load of people who have awful brothers or something like that can listen to him and try and say, well, I did this, I should send him letters. Maybe this would help you, Sam. Maybe this will help you. And to try and work out how you manage with someone who is so appalling. I don't know.
And look, Angela, mixed reports this week about whether Fergie is already plotting a comeback. That's what the Daily Mail reported. They said it was very much without her ex-husband, Andrew, and said that she had been telling friends during her time in the UAE, I need to get back to work, I need money. Although Robert Jobson, who is a highly regarded royal reporter too, he says he has spoken to Fergie direct, and it's not true, Angela. This is interesting. He said, I'm hearing the UAE angle may not be the one to follow regarding Sarah Ferguson's whereabouts. No indication of her wanting a new PR or desperate for funding. I had an exchange with her recently, and she was more worried about her mental health. So, Angela, this is something I think that you're seeing a lot at the moment from Andrew and Fergie. And I'm not completely dismissing it, by the way. Given what they're going through and given the pressure they're under, clearly it must be impacting their mental health. And that's a really difficult one, isn't it? Because that's one of the concerns that William has had. For example, if you push Andrew so far, are you almost pushing him into taking his own life? But what did you make of this pushback from Fergie via Robert Jobson saying, no, I'm not planning to come back. I'm not wanting a new PR. I'm not desperate for funding. I'm just worried about my mental health.
I don't believe that one, because she's somebody who can't hold on to money.
True.
She's absolutely, so many times she has to ask people for money because she somehow can't work out how to use it. So I'm not taken in by that one. But whatever it is, she makes. I know somebody who worked for her for a while, long ago, and she always said different things. And she said, no, I never said that, and she's not somebody who was actually reliable or you can actually trust. And she's over jolly, isn't she? She's sort of, everything's so fun and great and wonderful, and it's all jolly. And I think actually, if it was less jolly and she could sort herself out, things might be better. But what she's done to her children, not all of it might be right, but enough of it is right to make them feel absolutely appalling. And I think also you have to think of what the two husbands think. They must actually be very careful looking after them, or they can say, "Look, I'm not standing around with this going on." And I think that would be very upsetting for them because they seem to love them dearly. They've got small children. How is that going to manage? How are they going to cope with them? How are you going to talk to them about sort of things that are important in their lives? Why don't they see grandma? You know, it's all sort of very, very complicated. I hope the husbands look after them well. I think they are at the moment. I heard that they were being very caring. But
It's
she's
a
done
human
that.
tragedy,
It is.
especially for those two daughters. And
Yes.
it's going to be very difficult for them. Angela, I wanted to ask you about the other revelation this week. This is in regards to Meghan Markle and Rob Shooter reporting that Jessica Mulroney, her ex-BFF, remember the one who she ghosted the moment that she was caught up in a cancellation saga, has been offered a book deal rumored to be worth $1 million, and she's considering it, Angela. Well, I have to say, I wanted to write this goddamn book because Jessica Mulroney knows everything,
Yeah.
or most
Well,
things.
there we are. What I think is Meghan will pay $1,000 to stop the publishers doing it. I think she will be absolutely beside herself. But she's got, you know, what comes goes. You know, you can't behave in such a disgusting way to her. That it was something about a book, and she just didn't like what she was doing and saying. And there was a sort of black element, very small element there, and she's gone. Well, that's who does. You know, we know that she gets rid of people immediately. Done it with husbands and all sorts. But so she's entitled to say exactly what she likes. And her husband said that, you know, she wants to do this because it's not fair what's happened to her. And I think that that's right too. I would love to read that actually, as long as she manages to get it out. But I think of the lawyer reading it, you know, it's going to be tricky.
Questions about the king's health naturally lead to discussion about the future of the monarchy. Constitutional arrangements exist to ensure continuity if a monarch is temporarily unable to carry out duties. Those arrangements are long-standing and designed to provide stability. However, discussions about future scenarios should not be confused with claims about the king's current medical condition. Health information is particularly sensitive. Before accepting dramatic claims, it's worth asking: is the information attributed to an official source? Has it been reported by multiple reputable news organizations? Or is it based primarily on anonymous sources or speculation? These questions can help separate reliable reporting from rumor. The royal family remains one of the most closely watched institutions in the world, ensuring that every development attracts intense scrutiny. As more information becomes available through official channels, the public will have a clearer picture of the king's schedule and health. Until then, the best approach is to rely on verified information rather than sensational headlines. What do you think? Should the palace share more information about the king's health, or is it right to protect his medical privacy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this balanced breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more royal news and analysis. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.